everybody, and welcome back to the Bay Bolts channel. As always, my name is Jake Ricker. Alongside me is my good friend and co-host, Michael Wax. Michael, the Lightning scored 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 goals in game number 5 as the Lightning win game number 5, 8-0, and take a 3-2 series lead. How are you feeling after this dominating Lightning victory?
Feeling great. It was definitely something that we were not expecting, I guess. We wanted the Lightning to win. We expected the Lightning to win in game 5. I don't think anybody expected this. So can't wait to get into it.
Well, let's take a look at a couple notes before the game even got underway. Cooper had said before game 5 that Cernak should be able to go and would be fine. He was in pregame warmups, but did not get into the game. He stayed out of this game. Luke Shen fills in for his spot. So hopefully Cernak is okay. I think he is. It just seemed like something was bothering him. So as a precautionary move, they left him out. Luke Shen played great in this game, which we'll get to later in this recap. But a little note before the game even started. But the way we're going to try to break this down, there were so many goals in this game, it would take us 30 minutes to go through all of them. So we're going to try to break it down period by period for you, kind of just recap the goals. But let's start off with the first period, Michael. The Lightning, they got off to such a good start. I believe every time so far this series, the team that scores first is the team that has won the game. So getting off to a good start is super important for both these teams. And this time it was the Lightning by a mile. And it wasn't even necessarily, it was always pretty. Steven Stamkos gets on the board first for the Tampa Bay Lightning. He grabbed a rebound after a shot kind of bounced out right to him, but put the puck on net and good things will happen. So Stamkos gets the first goal of the game. Lightning lead it 1-0, and then they just kept up the pressure. Yanni Gourde threw kind of a pass across, I believe, to Coleman, ends up deflecting off an Islanders player's hand. And goes in the back of the net. They now lead it 2-0. And then it was Alex Killorn who put one in the back of the net to make it 3-0. That was also a deflected shot as well. And before you know it, the Lightning are leading 3-0 after 20 minutes, and the Islanders have already made a goalie change as Varlamov comes out of the net and Sorokin goes in. Just a dominating, amazing start for the Lightning in the first period.
Yeah, and you probably could have expected that because the Lightning had stressed after game 5 that they were not good enough defensively. And with the Lightning comes offense more than not. And if they have the lead, they will tighten up defensively. Getting on the board 45 seconds into the game really helps with that. Steven Stamkos, a lot of people were not happy with the way that he's been playing in this Eastern Conference Finals series or semifinals series, even though both teams are from the Eastern Conference. And that second line as a whole, they came into this game with 2 assists. They ended up leaving with 4 goals between 2 different players on that second line. It was just a great performance. But it, that first period was as good as you could ask for. It was a lot of offensive zone times. Yanni Gourde's goal, it might have been a deflected puck off of an Islanders player behind Varlamov, but that play started with a great keep in by Hedman and then an even better keep in by Yanni Gourde. This is the type of tenacity that we really look at in the offensive zone and say, if the Lightning are on their game, nobody can beat them. Now, I was a little bit surprised to see that Varlamov was taken out after the third goal. I understand you want to energize your team, but none of those 3 goals were his fault. They were all deflected in some sort of way.
Right.
And honestly, like, I'm not going to say the Lightning were lucky because they deserve some puck luck and they got it in this game. Ultimately, I was a little bit surprised to see them go to Sorokin, not in the middle of the period, rather than let Varlamov finish out the period, maybe go to Sorokin in the second, and maybe get the Islanders a little bit more of a jump in the final 40 minutes. But they didn't do that. And yeah, they came back to bite them. So very happy about that.
Well, heading into the second period, you're feeling good, obviously being up 3-0, but I think a lot of Lightning fans understood, you look at the last game where the Islanders are up 3-0 after 2 periods. Lightning nearly came back and win that game. So, or almost won that game. And you knew this game was far from over. There was still a lot of hockey to be played. And early in the second period, Michael, the Islanders came out very strong. They did have a lot of good opportunities. They hit about 3 posts in the span of 30 seconds. I think Andre Vasilevsky did get a pad on one of those at the very end, but the Islanders looked like they were making a push. They looked like they were trying to get a goal and at least get something going for them. But the Lightning then said, "All right, that's enough of that. You had your fun. Now it's our turn again." And the Lightning capitalized once again. They would get on the power play. The captain got his second of the night. Steven Stamkos now as the Lightning lead it 4-0. Andre Palat then gets a tip in to make it 5-0 after a great shot by David Savard, who played very well in this game tonight, had 2 assists by the end of the night. And then Alex Killorn on the power play, he also deflected it in front to make it 6-0 in favor of the Lightning. And now something did happen here at the end of the second period, which we're getting to in just a second. But before that, Michael, your thoughts on all these goals?
Yeah, don't take penalties if you're down 3-0. The Islanders did that. They took the first 3 penalties of the game, and then the fourth one was the fighting major to both Luke Shen and Matt Martin. And then they took another penalty where John Gabriel Pageau tripped Victor Hedman. So that's 4 consecutive penalties on the New York Islanders. You can look at that and say, oh, the refs are trying to game manage in favor of one team. Ultimately, I think it would be in the NHL's favor to actually call the penalties, which I think happened today. And, there were some missed calls on Lightning, don't get me wrong. But if you're going to have situations, I'd rather them call certain penalties on certain teams rather than, Corey Perry getting slashed in the face by Jonathan Marchessault and he's bleeding profusely from his nose and they call absolutely nothing on the play, or Braden Point getting shoved into the goaltender multiple times and ending up getting a goaltender interference penalty. I'd rather them make the right calls on plays that are actually penalties and miss a few than call nothing at all or call something that's absolutely incorrect. So as far as the Lightning play went, as soon as this game became 5-0, I became a lot calmer because not a lot of teams come back from 5-0 down. You've seen it 3-0, you've seen it 4-0 a couple times. As soon as they scored that fifth goal, it was a beautiful redirected shot from Andre Palat on a David Savard shot from the boards. I thought this game was over. It was all about, can the Lightning continue not only tacking on, but can they withstand the Islanders and not do anything very stupid, because the Islanders were probably going to retaliate in some sort of way, which they did at the end of the period.
Yes, they did. So let's talk about right there. The Islanders were on a power play at the end of this second period. And then as the horn sounds, Matthew Barzell goes over to Ruda. They were having some words going back and forth at each other, as players do in these kinds of games. And then Barzell throws a cross check to the face of Jan Ruda. Ruda goes down, is down on the ice. Head athletic trainer Tom Mulligan comes out to check on him. Refs immediately come over. Barzell gets 5 in a game misconduct. But listen, I know there's Islanders fans and people saying, oh, it was a flop. It was, it wasn't that bad of a hit. Even NBC decided to defend Barzell as soon as they could, saying that it looked like the glove got more of him there. I digress. I'm not going to get into NBC and go on a rant. But a bad play from Barzell. I mean, if you think this was a flop by Ruda, go get cross-checked in the face by a hockey stick. It does not feel good. Let me tell you that right now. It's something that does, and even if it did, if the glove was the main point of contact, or even if it wasn't that bad, it's still a bad play to do. Barzell's clearly frustrated, clearly angry, and he's making a stupid play. I guarantee you Barry Trotz was not happy with Barzell after what he did there. You just can't do that kind of stuff. I mean, he got a game misconduct and a 5-minute major, rightfully so.
Yeah, I don't love the hit. There was a hit a couple minutes ago in game time before that where Ryan McDonough cross-checked Brock Nelson. And that was also a hit where I look at it and go, that probably should have been more than a minor penalty, which it was. It was a minor penalty. It probably should have been probably a major, if we're being honest. It was a bad hit by Ryan McDonough. but to retaliate in the way that Barzell did is just unacceptable. Like nobody is going to look at you if you end up getting suspended as the hero in this situation. They'll look at you as a dummy who got suspended for game 6 with their season on the line. You could say Ruda flopped. Ruda came back for one shift in the third period. I don't know why the Lightning would play with 5 defensemen. I saw a lot of people saying, well, it's a blowout game, so he didn't need to play. Well, it's dumb to play with 5 defensemen. So he definitely was hurt. And now the Lightning are down 2 of their top 3 right-handed defensemen, possibly in game 6. So it was a cowardly move by Matt Barzell. He got what he deserved in terms of a punishment. As far as the suspension, I don't know if he's going to get suspended. Excuse me. I don't think so. But if he does, he puts his team in a terrible position to try to win Game 6.
Because of the 5 minute major in the game misconduct, it'll more than likely be a fine, I would imagine. It might also depend on the length of Ruda's injury. I don't know how bad it was. I know you said that he came back for the end of the third period. I also heard though that the sheet was wrong there and he didn't play at the end of the third period. So I'm not 100% sure if he ended up coming back out or not. But either
It did
way,
say it did say one shift, so I don't know if that's a missed typo
yeah,
or something.
Eric Erlandson on Twitter he's reported that, and then he later said that it looked like it was wrong, but I can't, don't quote me either way on it. I don't know for 100% sure, but either way, it came back for one shift or not. It's a bad hit, and it'll be interesting to see what player safety does. I would expect a fine because it could have been a lot worse, the hit for sure. But and again, because of the game misconduct and the 5 minute major, more than likely you'll see a fine for Barzell. But you're right, if he gets suspended, that really hurts the Islanders. You do not want, I'm sure it sucks for NBC. It's their favorite player, and not be able to play in Game 6 an elimination game. That'd be a real bummer. Anyway, going into the third period, the Lightning would have to they play 4-on-4 for a little bit, and then they would go on a 4 minute power play for the Matt Barzell major. And to this point, Michael, a certain someone didn't have a goal yet and had a 7 goal game streak in jeopardy, but no worries here as Braden Point gets a goal on the power play to make it 8 goals in a row in the playoffs, which is just absolutely ridiculous. It puts him alone in second place for longest goal streak in NHL history. Only one player is ahead of him. I can't remember the player's name off the top of my head right now. He's got 10 goals in the playoffs. So Braden Point, chugging along, getting closer and closer to that record, but he has been absolutely outstanding. We had one more goal for the Lightning, though, and it was Luke Shen who came in for today's game in place of Eric Cernak. He threw one on net. It deflected off an Islanders player in front, went in the back of the net. So once again, put the puck on net and good things will happen. And the Lightning take an 8-0 lead. They win the game 8-0. It's another shutout for Andrei Vasilevsky. The Lightning improved to 11-0 after a loss. This team is resilient after losing a game. Shots were 42-21, by the way. So Lightning putting tons of pucks on net. They did have a lot of power plays in this game, but just a fantastic game for the Lightning overall. And now they have a chance to head back to the Stanley Cup Finals for the second year in a row in game number 6 at Nassau Coliseum.
Yeah, so let's go back to the Braden Point goal. He's now second in consecutive goal streak ever in the playoffs, behind Reggie Leach, who you mentioned had 10 back in the 1970s, which is insane, by the way, to score in 10 straight games.
Ridiculous.
And then when Braden Point is going to do it, it's going to be even more insane. We had a graphic
Knock on wood.
on on I believe it was Sportsnet. There was a graphic that showed where Braden Point ranked in terms of consecutive goals or games with goals consecutively in the playoffs, and he was second. But he was the only one on that list from the person that scored 10 to someone that had scored 6 in a row that was in the 2000s. Like, this is unprecedented for people that are our age or maybe a little bit older than us. They haven't seen this before. And Braden Point is quickly becoming, and we talked about this on Twitter Spaces, the best Lightning playoff performer ever. Better than Marty, better than Cooch, better than Hedman, better than Stamkos. Ever.
Yeah.
Like, he has done things, he has scored goals that have really been extremely important for this franchise. He holds the record for goals in a single playoff. He might break that again this year. He's got this Stanley Cup game-winning goal from Game 6 in last year versus Dallas. There's nothing that this guy can't do. The sky's the limit. As far as the Luke Shen goal, hey, I'm happy he got on the board. He played a really solid game. Like, we were really, really worried, or at least I was, that Eric Chernak would not play. And I don't mind Luke Shen as a substitute. But when you have to replace Eric Chernak, there's a lot on your mind in terms of what you have to do, what position you have to be in, all that good stuff. He was great. And it did help that the Lightning got out to an early lead. So he got to play his style of defensive hockey. But ultimately, he was really good. And he might have to take on a bigger role in game 6. I don't know if that's going to be a problem for him. But if that's the case and he has to take on a bigger role, I would not be surprised to see him play more with Victor Hedman in this game. He played more with someone like Mikhail Sergachev in game 5.
All right, because both Eric Cernak and Jan Ruda are currently hurt, and we don't know their status for Game 6. I would expect Cernak to be a go. I think he was very close to playing last night, but ended up just not going at the last second. I would be surprised if he's out for Game 6. Don't know the extent of Jan Ruda's injury after the Matt Barzal hit, but I would expect him to be okay because it didn't look too serious. I think they kept him out for precautionary reasons, I'd like to think. But we'll have to wait and see how things shake out with the morning skate tomorrow and all that good stuff. But nonetheless, the Lightning have a chance to end this and send the Islanders home in 6 games once again, just like they did last year. But I'll tell you what, even if they do end up losing, the game's not over. It's not over yet. They have to win one more win. So the job is not done yet. But the good news for Lightning fans is, again, as I mentioned, Lightning 11-0 after a loss. So even if you lose game 6, you have to feel pretty good coming home for game 7. But hopefully we don't have to worry about that because no one likes to have a panic attack during game 7s because you just never know. But if the Lightning do anything like they did in tonight's game, I think it's a pretty safe bet to say they've got a good shot at closing this out in game number 6. So, Michael, anything else to add before we wrap up this video?
Yeah, if neither Cernak nor Ruda plays, I hope one of them plays. But if neither of them play, I do think you'll see either Frederick Claesson or Cal Foote get into the lineup. We saw Claesson play in the final couple of games when everybody was hurt in the regular season. And then, man, what happened with Cal Foote? Like, he has not played for a very long time. He got sent down because of cap reasons, and then they just didn't play him anymore. So he might play because he's a right shot defenseman. They might prefer Frederick Claesson a little bit more. But I expect one of those two to play if both Ruda and Cernak are out.
Right, and it's gonna be interesting to see what Cooper does on that front. Again, I don't expect both of them to be out. I'd be surprised, but Cal Foote, he doesn't have the experience. I think he's got more talent wise than a guy like Claesson. Claesson's probably got a little more experience than Foote does. So I don't know. Foote probably hasn't played a lot, largely because of the Savard trade, which is working out very well for the Lightning, but only time will tell. So let us know down in the comments below if we missed anything from this video, what your thoughts on this game were, and if you think the Lightning will be able to close it out in game number 6 and send the Islanders packing, and the Lightning will head back to the Stanley Cup final for the 2nd year in a row. Be sure to leave a like on this video if you did enjoy it. It really helps us out. Lets us know you guys are enjoying these videos. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on future videos just like this one. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. And remember, your Tampa Bay Lightning are still your defending Stanley Cup champions.
Go Bolts.